everyone, how are you doing today? My name is Karina and welcome back to my channel. And as you guys can tell, today is an empties video. So these are my empties for the midpoint of June. So I've been able to do the last month or so. And it's not overflowing. That's exciting. But there's still a lot in here, and really what's adding up the value is all of these like little skincare samples I've been using up. So we're going to go through, as usual, everything I have emptied off. We have a whole variety: makeup, skincare, nail polish, body care, a little bit of hair care in here. So we've got lots of things to discuss. We'll give you my mini review on these items. Plus, of course, at the end, we will talk how much this box is worth retail value. Of course, comments and details on that in the description box down below, how I calculate all of that. And without further ado, let's just dive into it. Okay, lots of stuff in front of me. Let's start off with very small little categories. First off is a shampoo. This one comes from OGX. I actually really liked this shampoo. It has a decent scent to it. It was a lovely purple color. And this one I did go through seemingly fast because I believe it was only last month, I had another of these shampoos in my empties and I didn't like it. So I was alternating between that one and this one. So this one was probably about like halfway full when I really started focusing in on it. But I really did like this one. This was decent. Also, quick little one-off, it is a fragrance, the Viva La Juicy, and of course this was in a project. You can see all of my marks on here. I did enjoy this fragrance. I just don't think it's going to be what I'm going to redeem the full-sized voucher for the full-sized item, obviously. But it was decent, and it took a little bit to get that worked off. So when I rolled it in, 1 month, second month, got it finished off. Let's do body care next because I don't have a whole ton in body care and no Bath & Body Works this time. And of course, if you've been catching up with my Skin is In project pan, you know why. I had a whole bunch of these little things hanging around. So a whole bunch of different body care samples, predominantly from hotels, or at least these three are. So to start us off, I had two of these. These Earth Harbors hydrating lotions. I was way down there on that one, and I was there on that other one. These do have retail value, so that was exciting. Tiny retail value, but retail value nonetheless. This was also from a hotel. This one was from the Westin. This was fairly recent, from the trip in February. Yes, there is still some product in there, but kind of difficult to get out. I liked the Earth Tempo a little bit better than this one. I already ranted and raved about this, the J.R.Watkins, the Lavender Hand and Body Lotion. I couldn't stand the smell. Couldn't stand on cold at first, it was fine, but then when I started using it, and now maybe that was because it was old, but I could not stand the scent. It was very thin for a formula, so not impressed at all, did not like that, will not use that kind of item again. Last, we had of the stuff that was in Skin is In. This is the Truly Spa. This was their Ocean Floral. It was somewhere down here or so. This was crazy, crazy, crazy old. Don't even want to know how long I've had this. But the scent, which was Ocean Floral, like, you could smell that the next day on you. So it was quite lovely. It was just really quite old. And one final body care. So this is the Reese. This one was in my deck of panning project for an out of control category. This is their body butter, 60 milliliters in pink lemonade. Of course, all empty in there. This actually lasted a lot longer than some of the other 50, 60 milliliter products that I have used because you didn't need very much and it did go quite a long way. This one was pink lemonade, which on cold is quite enjoyable and I like it, but it is quite also strong. I don't know if that's just the pink lemonade or all of these in general, but it was a little bit much. I didn't like how it smelled on me. It smelled a little funky, a little off. I do have a full size of a different scent profile that I might be bringing in soon just to kind of compare, form an opinion on this particular line. But it wasn't bad, just a bit much. in terms of scent. Formula was very nice though. Let's get into nail polish. So these are the ones from my previous project polish update. However, I did manage to finish these a little bit faster, so I ended up filming the project polish and editing and posting it before last month's empties. So even though these were empty before that video went up, scheduling, right? But I have 4. One of them is full size. One of them. So if we work my way, get my nail swatch wheel so you guys can see it. If we work the way down the wheel, this first one here is OPI Gelato on my mind. The color is okay. The formula is kind of sucky. You need 3, sometimes 4 coats to get that color here. Very streaky. And there was the lines. It was completely full when I started. 1 month, 2nd month. And you can see there's still some product down there, but it's not enough to work with. It's too hard to get out on the brush. Very streaky. It requires too much. So I called that one done. Wasn't messing with it. Next one that was finished off is this light green here. This one was from Quo, which is a Shopper's Beauty line. This is in the shade Divine Sage. I was really curious about this particular color. There was a little bit of like a shift in there. Very nice and pretty. I got a ton of use out of this. So lasted a very long time. And in terms of marks, it's there. So that was 1 month. That was the next one. So use this one a ton. Not a big fan. I wouldn't say I'm not a big fan of the color. I found combinations I really enjoyed, but I'm not sure that's worth buying this shade for. So that's where I'm at with that guy. Although it was fast drying, which it claimed to be, which was fantastic. Beside that here, this purple. Oh, so this was from Kozmic Colors. And of course, my line is right there on the side. Polished down here at the bottom. Too hard, too difficult to get out. This was a 3-coater as well, so I had a lot of 3-coaters going on. I did really like this color. And the Kozmic Colors, this is just like, you know, the dollar store kind of nail polish. So this came in a pack of 6, I think for like $3. So not bad. I did enjoy it. It had 6 milliliters of product in it. They have now upped their bottle size to 7 milliliters. So yeah, I was getting sick of this. And then I fell back in love with it. So it was a nice color. I don't know if it was my favorite. I don't know if I'd want to repurchase that type of color, but it also had some gorgeous shimmer. And then finally, this one here. So this is the Sally Hansen Complete Salon Manicure in the shade Shall We Dance. These were the marks here. So this progress here was what I made in January, back when my project polish was a 10-user type thing. And then I finished it off, and again, you can see maybe that tiny little bit down the bottom. So I got much closer to the bottom on this guy. Again, a 3-coater. But this shade was actually quite nice because it was literally like a My Nails But Better color. Just a little bit of kind of cleaning it up a little bit, and it was quite nice. I actually do have a second one of these, not because I went and replaced it, but I accidentally got 2 of them. So I am glad, although it's probably going to be a little while before I pull this one out because I have so many other nudes in my collection that I want to try out and use. I do have a bunch of makeup as well, but I think first let's dive into all of the skincare because there's a decent amount of it sitting in front of me and ranging. So stuff you have seen in projects, stuff you haven't seen, full-size mini stuff, foil packets. Let's dive in. I'm going to start with this one because this should have been in the body care category. This is the Dr. Dennis Gross Alpha Beta Exfoliating Body Treatment. There was one towel in here, which you use to exfoliate your body and have a bit of a chemical exfoliant. This came in like a Sephora Favorites kit. This is stupid expensive. That's about all I got to say. Was it nice? Sure, it was fine. Did it have a smell I didn't like? It did have a smell I didn't like. Did I see a lot of big differences? I was like, oh my goodness, I need to go get this now. No, especially because this is something you're supposed to use twice a week. And yeah, no, that adds up very, very quickly. I found the towelette did most of my body. or just about all of it. It was a little bit rough to make sure you got everything a nice even coat, but I used it. Not purchasing though. From the same brand, I also have this, also single-use towel. This, again, Dr. Dennis Gross, but this is their Advanced Retinol Overnight Texture Renewal Peel. This one went on the face. It also smelled bad. Didn't like it. You're supposed to use this 2 to 3 times a week. Not for that price tag. No, forget it. Yeah, it was fine. Just fine. Let's kind of work through in order of application-ish, more or less. Starting off with this guy. So this was in my Beauty A to Z for the letter U. This is the Urage. This is their Refreshing Makeup Remover Jelly. I did not like this. This lasted for me about a week, so 8 milliliters in there. And I just felt like it wasn't very effective getting stuff off, especially the eye makeup. And I mean, it was a little bit cooling feeling, but me no liking. No. And I did use a little bit more. That's just a tiny little bit down at the bottom. This cleansing balm I liked way better. Again, Pharmacy, the Green Clean Makeup Melt Away Cleansing Balm. This is, I think, my second favorite formulation. This one was in the scent Peach Time. So it was a nice scent. Works really well. This is 50 milliliters, so I went through it somewhat quickly, but it does the job very nicely. I like this one a lot. All right, getting into some cleansers. Let's start off with some sample packs. The Tula. So this is the Cult Classic Cleanser. We had 2 milliliters of sample in here. As with my experience with Tula thus far, they're fine, right? They seem to be, again, lots of focus on supporting the skin barrier, which is really good. But they're not the most fun to use. So, good products. I'm not going to rush out to purchase this particular one, though. This one I liked more. This one I actually used first. This came from Philosophy, their micro delivery exfoliating daily facial wash. This I liked. This had a nice exfoliant in there, but it was gentle, but also felt like it did something, which is the balance that is hard to strike. There was only 1.5 milliliters of sample in this thing, and I kind of went through that a little bit quickly, used a little bit too much on my first time using it, because again, hard to know how much product you need, and it's hard to control in these foil samples. I really liked this one, and they have now repackaged, so it comes in a pump now, which is even more exciting. So for that reason, I was able to get my hands on the older packaging, so pre-pump. So I actually do have a full size of this in my collection currently, and I'm going to look forward to eventually bringing that guy out. And a deluxe cleanser! Again, if you've seen my Skin is In project pan, you know my struggles with using up full-size cleansers. But this one, finally used it. From Clarisonic. So this was like the little freebie that came in when you bought a Clarisonic back when that was a thing way long time ago. This is the Refreshing Gel Cleanser, and you can buy this. I was kind of surprised to find that. Like, that's something you can actually still get to this day. 30 milliliters in here. I started here. So I had this much product sitting in my bathroom for way too long. Finally got it used up. It was interesting because when you would squeeze it out to use it, because I used it in the shower, it had purple shimmer in it. Which, I don't know why. I don't know what the benefit of that was. Did it do anything? I don't think it did. But it was very interesting of an observation. But it was fine. Again, this is a pH gentle foaming cleanser for oily and congested skin, which isn't necessarily my skin type, but I wanted to get it used up, especially since I'd already made decent progress. All right, something you haven't seen that is full-sized. This guy came to me from Boxycharm. This is the Aceology, the Detoxifying Treatment Mask. Kind of hard to see because, you know, it's a metal tube, which is kind of difficult to get everything squeezed out, but fine. This was a charcoal mask. You peel it off. The peeling off process wasn't too bad. It seemed fine. This is $69 US, so by the time you get the conversion on there, that's just ridiculously expensive. So for that reason, not going to purchase again. Still, at this point, my favorite charcoal mask is the Mary Kay one. It's easier to use. It dries down. You can kind of see where things are getting pulled out. But this was fine, and I was usually using this about twice a week. Another Boxycharm item, and it's a product type I'm not a big fan of, just because they seem like a lot of work and I don't really notice results. But those are set of eye boomerangs, or in this case, 12 of them. This came to Boxycharm. This is the Grace and Stella Everything Better in Pink Eye Mask Collagen Boosting Boomerangs. So there were 12 in here. The packaging, that's cute. They were like a bright neon pink color. They did fall down a little bit. There was a bunch of extra serum in the bottom of the packet, so after I would use the eye boomerangs, throw them out. Of course, they're single use. Then for the next couple days, that's kind of what I would use as my eye serum and finish it off that way. Again, these I find generally are more for anti-puffing than dark circles. Like, I know they're supposed to technically do both, but I don't think I see a lot of results. So I will use these things if I get them, but I'm not going to go out of my way to buy any eye masks unless I find something that actually really does work for me and I enjoy it and it's a good experience. But again, it's like sheet masks, right? You have to, take it easy and not be running around doing stuff. And so it took me quite a while to get through these, but I did it. This one was from This Is Fantasy. So this was my Grown Alchemist toner. This is their rebalancing one. So I tended to use this one at night. My husband was also using it. That's where it started in the project. That was a month of progress, and then we finished it off. Progress was definitely unequal because this time took a lot, or this product here took a long time to use up. This one, and again, it's because of the packaging. There is nothing there, so you try to dump and be careful, like don't dump too much, which of course did happen, especially when we were transitioning from the toner I'd used up previously, and you're like trying to shake it all out, compared to this, which is like, there wasn't like a super amount of wasted product or anything like that. I just mean, you take too much, it's like, it goes like, whew. So all of it was out. It's not like a bunch got dumped onto the floor or anything, but yeah. More for my husband's skin type than my own, and it was just fine. This was a choice item in Boxycharm as well at some point for the full-size item, but I passed on it because, again, it's a balancing toner. It also has rose in there, which roses are my favorite flower. I think their scent is beautiful. I think they look beautiful. But when you distill rose scent into a lot of products, I don't like that artificial rose scent. It doesn't do it for me. Natural roses, love that. So if there are products that are able to replicate that rose scent, then I love it. But most of the time, it's too much. It's too artificial. So yeah, that rose in there also has ginseng and chamomile in it. So again, all of the calming, soothing stuff, but Also, an expensive item. This is one of the expensive samples here from Sunday Riley, the Good Genes Lactic Acid Treatment. This originally I was using on my own and I couldn't see progress on it. I didn't think there was much left when I rolled it into Beauty A to Z for good or jeans, whichever one you want. I didn't like the smell on this. I think it may have slightly irritated my skin a little bit, especially more like up on the cheekbone area. And we had 8 milliliters of sampling here. So I was very excited to try it, because of course that big item, heard a lot about it, but it just, It also had a strong scent, and again, I want everything in my skincare routine, including a wonderful use experience, in addition to being effective. Was it effective? Maybe. I don't know. I didn't use it consistently enough to really tell, but... Moisturizers. We're going to go smallest to biggest, and most of these are project items. So first off, this guy from Clarins. So... 2 milliliter sample of the Extra Firming Energy Complex. This was fine. I liked it. I used it in the morning. This is super expensive, full size. Didn't like it enough for that price tag. It was kind of orangey peachy color, but of course blends right in. And it was a little bit thicker as well, so it's kind of hard to get out of this packaging, but it seems nice. This, finally. Okay, so story time. The Peter Thomas Roth. This is their Firm X Collagen Moisturizer. There are supposed to be 7 forms of collagen and collagen supporting ingredients in here. You first saw this on my channel when I took it down to the Caribbean, and I used this one as one of the night moisturizer options. But then I came back from the Caribbean, still had, I don't know, some amount of product left. And I would try to use it at night a little bit here and there. But of course I had moisturizers in other projects, which I was trying to more focus on. And even now, I do have a bunch of moisturizers still in projects, particularly the Advent Calendar Project Pan. Trying to balance things, and eventually I decided, because like every time I used it, it's like there's one use left, there's one use left. And probably for the last 3 months, that's basically been the reality. It's like slowly getting closer and closer down to that one use left, but I didn't want to conflict with other projects. But the last time I used it, it indeed was one use left. And I'm like, that's probably all there is, because it was getting really hard to squeeze out. I was having my husband help me squeeze this out. So yeah, there was finally one use left, so it's finally done. I enjoyed it. I liked it. But it is not worth the price tag. So the full size of this is like 115 USD. So when you start doing Canadian conversions, no. It was a nice moisturizer, yes. Collagen, I think, is expensive. Fine, but So when you do the math for the sample size, and this sample has 7.5 milliliters in there, you can buy entire moisturizers cheaper than this sample size. When you do the Canadian conversion, everything. Again, I liked it, but not that price tag. I didn't. All right, this one from Lancome. This is their very fancy high potency night moisturizing cream. We had 15 grams of sample in here. This was rolled in for drop 10 by Summer, and it took me a really long time. It basically took the entire project. Yes, I was balancing between this moisturizer and the next one that I'm going to show you, but it still took a ridiculously long time because you didn't need a lot of it. It was quite moisturizing. I do have another of these samples of the 15 gram ones, so I'm excited to play with that at some point. Just it's going to be a little while because it took me so long. This was a night moisturizer, right? It says it explicitly right there for us, and that's how I used it, and I did enjoy it. It worked great layering with a sleeping mask, so... And of course, this is the last moisturizer that I used up. This one was in Skin is In, coming to us from Wishful, their Honey Balm Jelly Moisturizer. So, my thoughts on this guy. When I started it, it's very thick, right? So I didn't like it for the morning. I did try using it in the morning a couple times as well. So it's too heavy, and I don't know if it's psychological or if it actually was a thing. I just don't think it would layer well with makeup, having this on and then doing makeup, especially if you don't give it time to absorb. I also, when I was using this at night, if I was going to use a sleeping mask, I would use the Lancome, because this is basically a moisturizer and sleeping mask in one. Like, it's very rich and thick. And when I first started using it, I was like, oh, I really like this. And even though it has lavender in it, which generally I don't like the scent of lavender, as we discovered with that hand and body lotion earlier, this was lovely. And the first couple times I was using it, it's like, ooh, am I going to have to go out and get backups of this? But as I started using it more, I was a bit concerned it was too much for my skin. And part of that might be psychological. Because, again, this came in Boxycharm, and so lots of other Boxycharm reviews, particularly for people who had more oily combination skin, this product broke them out. I don't have oily combination skin. My skin tends to be more on the normal dry side, but just knowing that very common review from a lot of people and their experience with this product kind of freaked me out a little bit, and that did affect my experience with the product. Now, no, it never did break me out, but I've used the item. It was fine, but I still think it is too rich, a little bit too thick, too something in there with whatever ingredient. I did like the niacinamide. That was great. And there was also glitter in this, which was kind of unusual. Or at least it seemed to have glitter to my untrained eye. But I like the purple packaging. That was nice. It's time for the makeup. And again, lots of things. I'm so excited. It's predominantly lip products, which again, I'm finishing lip products. Such a milestone, such an achievement. So we're going to save that for the end. Let's talk about the one-off items. These were both in my Drop 10 by Summer project. So starting with this guy, I have finally finished an eyeliner, you guys. Tiny little nub from Elizabeth Mott. This was their creamy shadow stick or something along those lines. This was in Pearl. So I used it as, the waterline kind of brightening effect on it. When I was Googling for the price, I found you can use it in a bunch of other different ways, but that's not how I use it. I strictly used it there. The packaging did crack on me when I was getting part of the way through it. And the further down the pencil I got, the more I had to really sharpen this. Because for most eyeliners, especially when you're using it in such a small surface area, I can go a long time without having to sharpen it. Because I basically don't sharpen an eyeliner until it's about to start scratching my eye, or it does start scratching my eye. I sharpen then. But as I was getting towards the last third of the pencil, every 2 to 3 uses on that very small area, I had to sharpen. And so this actually moved quite quickly. I do enjoy this kind of color on that waterline, so it was fine. Does it need to be this one? No, it doesn't. Right? Just any basic of this color. The NYX, the Precision Brow Pencil. That's the name of it. Kind of fun packaging. My shade was an espresso. It did have that triangular tip there, which, and again, there's a swatch. It's not my favorite. I still had good precision with this. I was able to work with it. Some brow products, I find it just gets too much too quick. And for me, because I have a lot of brow, it's just kind of filling in some spots. I find that other brow products can get too much. And then all I see is eyebrows, which I personally don't like. So this did not do that, which was great. The color match was pretty good. It also had the spoolie on the other side, which got quite dirty, but I enjoyed this. I do prefer more of the micro tip because that looks even more natural, even easier to work with. So I wouldn't rule out buying this one again, but I'd maybe try some other ones first. So we'll see. Lip products. I have the last 2 Mary Kay lip liners. So this one was red. This one was rose. So red, obviously, was bright red. And rose, which broke. They both broke, but this one broke off at the end. Kind of a mid-tone pink. These do come with a sharpener on the end, which I don't use. And I do use lip liner for the entire lip. I don't just line and then do other products. Just the way. And because of that, these are very creamy, so they moved very quickly. Quickly enough to the point that I don't think they're worth the price tag, because these are kind of expensive lip liners. Especially for how fast I moved through them. All 3 of the ones that I had, they did break, sometimes several times throughout the course of the pencil. And again, it's not because I had a ton sticking out. It's just I'm using it and some breaks off. So I am glad that the 3 that I had are now all used up. They've been featured all in the Empties videos along the way. So that is very exciting. Not going to buy them again. The favorite color, I think, out of all the ones I had was the rose one. That was the most flattering one, but it wasn't super long lasting. This product came to us from Lip Service. crazy old. I don't even know how old this was. The Rimmel Kiss and Stay lip gloss. So one of those dual-ended products. So you had this base color, which you can see I was really trying to scrape the sides. I don't remove the stoppers on lip products because they're too messy. And there's still some product getting off on that base color side. However, it was kind of grainy feeling because this is very old and bottom of the tube and all of that. This was the lip gloss side. It looks like there's still a whole bunch down at the bottom, but there isn't. Whatever's there is just all dried off. This brush, not a big fan of that. I do prefer a doe foot. The color, gorgeous. It lasted pretty well on the lips. It did transfer a bit, which... Again, most lip products do. Eventually, I would like to have lip products that don't transfer, that last all day, that don't dry the lips out, that can look glossy. Like, I still want everything, and that's hard to do. But this is finished, finally. Also from Lip Service, the Sol de Janeiro Lip Balm. This came from Boxycharm. It looked like that. It was a lot sheerer when you put it on the lips. It has... oh, that wonderful smell, which I didn't like at first. I thought it was too much. I considered decluttering it, decided to use it a bit more anyway, ended up liking it. I think it smells like donuts. I enjoyed this one. Easy to reach for, loved the scent. Mine did have, it always did, so melted, it had all the bumps, which did unfortunately affect the experience a bit because it wasn't that nice smooth feeling. It was textured, but again, nothing wrong with the formula. It didn't turn bad. It just got exposed to heat before it got to me. This, I believe, has been discontinued, so I couldn't buy it even if I wanted to. Could be tempted once I get my lip products under control, though. This feet here, it's a mini lipstick. It shouldn't take that long. But did it take me like 6-7 months of use? Yes, it did. Obviously, by the packaging, you can tell this is very expensive. Also coming from one of the Sephora kits, this was a Tom Ford lipstick. It was a red shade. Now, it looks more red in here, but on the lips, like it came across more orange. I wore it down until this plastic bit was scraping against my lips. So when you get rid of the plastic bit, like we're flush with that packaging. That much got used up. I started working on this in December. Very often I would put like a red lip liner under this to make this look more red than orangey red. And I liked that better, but I didn't do it all the time because, you know, extra step. And, you know, it's pretty. It's pretty packaging. I might keep it, might display it because it is Tom Ford and Tom Ford is ridiculously expensive. But didn't like the color. Well, it's not that if I hated the color, I would have declared it. But I worked with it. It wasn't my favorite color. And the formula... So if you like blow your nose, for example, and if you have to use a tissue, it's gone. Like it's completely off your lips. But it wouldn't, it would transfer if like you're drinking something, but you'd still have the color on. So in that way, it lasted a bit longer. So it really depended on how things were transferring off the lips. This was more moisturizing, so sometimes I did almost use it like a lip balm if it didn't matter what color was on my lips. So it was nice. But again, stupid expensive. So wouldn't rebuy because again, I'd want something a little bit more stay on the lips and not transfer. And that is it. We made it to the end. This is my Empties table right here. So good variety of items. So let's take a moment and talk about prices. Again, it's the skincare samples. Those are what are really bringing this price tag up. The total value on this table is $479.64. And of course, that is in Canadian dollar value with full retail prices. So again, not what I paid for these items. Boxycharm, Sephora VIP sales, etc., so on and so forth. So not my highest month, which is a good thing because it was that last month. Yeah. So check last month if you want a really big number. But when we add the $479.64 to what I had for my total yearly value as of last month, that now brings us to $2,600.96. So we've crossed that $2,500 mark and surpassed it by a little bit there. So we are now at the halfway point of the year. Now, do keep in mind that these empties have included December of last year in there as well. So we are looking at 7 months of empties to get to that $2,600 value mark. However, there is still a fair amount of the year left, right? So this other little bit of June that we have and going all the way till the end of December. So we'll see how big that number gets. But in the meantime, thank you so much for joining me for today's Empties video. If you enjoy Empties videos, subscribe because I do post them monthly, roughly around this time of the month. But of course, it can vary a little bit depending on what's going on with other projects. And of course, if you want to see these items being used before they're empties, make sure you check out my project plan playlist because that's where most of these products are coming from. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I look forward to seeing you guys in my next video very soon. Have a wonderful day.